We're all told to chase happiness, but what if we're running in the completely wrong direction? So in this explainer, we're going to dig into a totally different way of thinking about well-being, one that isn't about escaping the stress of modern life, but actually learning how to thrive right in the middle of it.
I mean, we all feel it, right? The pressure of modern life. You've got the deadlines, the constant pings from your phone, that feeling of just being stretched way too thin. And in the middle of all that, we're supposed to just be happy? But what if that chase, that very pursuit, is actually part of the problem? Are we just chasing a ghost?
And this quote, man, it just nails it. This gets right to the heart of what we're talking about. See, true well-being isn't about creating some perfect, stress-free life. Come on, that's a fantasy. It's about building the skill, the resilience to handle the challenges that are just an inevitable part of being alive. So, this really forces us to ask a huge question. What is happiness really? Is it just some fleeting feeling that we hope to catch, like a butterfly? Or is it something we build, something we practice, like a virtue? Because that distinction, well, it changes everything. Okay, so most of us, when we think of happiness, we think of it as a feeling. It's the joy of a big celebration, that perfect sunny moment on vacation, or maybe just a quiet morning with a great cup of coffee. It's when the world feels easy and welcoming. But we all know, those moments don't last. And this is where things get really interesting. We've got two very different ideas of happiness. On one hand, you have hedonic happiness. That's all about pleasure, feeling good right here, right now. It's a passive thing. But on the other side, there's eudaimonic happiness. And this is so much deeper. It's about realizing your potential, living a life that has meaning, and actively practicing being better. It's the difference between just feeling good and actually doing good.
And here's maybe the most powerful way to think about it. This deeper kind of happiness, it isn't something you just stumble upon. It's something you build. It's like a muscle. And just like any muscle, it needs consistent effort, practice, and training to grow. It's not about luck, it's about work.
Okay, so if happiness is a skill we can build, what's stopping us? Why is it so hard? Well, a lot of it comes down to this fundamental conflict that's happening inside all of us, the battle of desire. So let's start with one side of this battle, our desires. By nature, human desire is pretty much limitless. We always want more. The second we get something, our mind is already jumping to the next thing. It's a motor that is just never, ever fully satisfied.
But here's the catch. While our desires are infinite, our power, our actual time, our energy, our resources is finite. We are limited beings. And this creates this fundamental, unavoidable tension in our lives. And that gap, the space between what we want and what we can actually do, that's where disappointment is born. And guess what? Modern consumer society knows all about this gap. It's practically designed to exploit it. It's constantly dangling new desires in front of us, making us feel like we're never enough. If we don't understand our own limits, we become total victims to it.
This is what real freedom actually looks like. It's emotional autonomy. It's about knowing yourself so well, your strengths, your limits, your power, that you can spot and resist all those prepackaged versions of happiness they're trying to sell you.
Okay, so we've laid out the problem. Let's shift gears and talk about the solution. If happiness is a skill, something you do, then how do we practice it? Well, it really boils down to these 3 steps. First, you gotta exercise your power. That means actually putting yourself to the test. Step outside your comfort zone, take on a real challenge, and find out what you're truly made of. Second, develop your skills. Turn that raw potential you have into actual competence. The ancient Greeks had this amazing word for it, arete, which is about virtue or excellence. It's about becoming excellent at the skill of living. And third, and this is huge, cultivate connection.
Because, and this is so important, this whole journey, it's not a solar mission. As Aristotle pointed out thousands of years ago, we are social animals. True, individual well-being is kind of an illusion if it's not connected to the well-being of the group. Making that leap from focusing only on I to focusing on we is absolutely essential for finding real, lasting happiness. All right, this brings us to our final and maybe the most powerful reframe of all. If happiness isn't about avoiding stress, then how on earth do we find joy even when things are tough? It requires one last big mental shift. So think about this for a second. What's the true opposite of happiness? Most of us would immediately say sadness or pain. But that's not quite right. The real opposite is something way more subtle and way more corrosive.
It's boredom. That feeling when the world just goes silent. When you feel totally disconnected and nothing seems to matter or speak to you anymore. That is the true void. That's where well-being just can't exist.
See, pain can actually be a motivator. It can force us to dig deep and find reserves of strength we never knew we had. But boredom, it's just emptiness. It's a total state of disconnection. So what's the antidote? It's curiosity. It's choosing to look at the world with fresh eyes, as if everything you see is a fascinating exception, a wonder. That's how you keep the world alive and speaking to you.
And that's really the final takeaway. Happiness isn't something that just happens to you. It's a choice. It's a choice about where you direct your focus and your energy. It's an active, intentional skill you practice every day. So the only question left is, what will you choose to see today?